Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome into the Hunter Houston ESG podcast. Now, you may not be familiar with my show. I usually just do it on Spotify and a few other things. Uh, I'm just doing YouTube for the first time here to see how it goes, see if I'm likable or I'm not. So, never know. So, anyway, with that out of the way, thank you everybody for coming in, checking out the show if you can. Now, I want to talk about the gaming awards. I know it's been beat to death. It's a dead horse at this point. Everybody's had their 2 cents on it. But, you know, what's not said enough is how Black Myth Wukong and his creators were kind of disrespected, that they were brought there. I mean, they knew they were going to win an award because, you weren't going to bring them there and make them look foolish. And they came all the way from China. So it was very disrespectful to not tell them what exactly they were going to win. Just most award shows, when people show up for these shows, most of the time, they know what they're going to win, and that's why they show up to these award shows. It's like, okay, I know I'm going to win, or hey, I'll get a humble mention, or I'll get a bag, or I'll be a part of something, or they'll spend a lot of time talking about me. You don't show up there and like, oh, I expect to lose. That some people do, but that's differently. And so, to the great people at the Black Myth Wukong Studios, man, y'all put out a great game. What amazing telling of Japanese lore, excuse me, Chinese lore. I didn't mean to disrespect there. And just so well done. Just amazing, beautiful game from head to toe. Yes, the game is kind of difficult at first, but once you learn, and there is a learning curve, it's it's a fun game. Anybody who hasn't played it, give it a shot out. I think it's a free trial on PSN right now. It will be coming to Xbox if Xbox would just let it come out for the X series and not the S series. It shouldn't be a requirement to make a game for a lesser console that is, let's just say, not favorable for the general public, but yet you make people make it anyway, which is silly. They shouldn't have to do that. If that console that you made can't handle the games, then it should not get those games. That's like saying, well, I guess Black Myth Wukong should also be for the PlayStation 2. Even though the PlayStation 2 cannot handle the graphics, we're just going to just dumb it down so badly and make it basically stick figures where it'll play on the PlayStation 2. Because that's where at the point of where we are with the Xbox X series. But I'm not here to gripe about the Xbox X series. Excuse me, not the Xbox X series, the S series. I'm here to talk about the Game Awards in general. Black Myth Wukong being I'm not saying screwed out of the game of the year, but everybody knew that was anybody that had any sense. The safe pick was Astrobot. Is Astrobot an amazing game? Absolutely. It's a great game. It's a great platforming game that basically sends you through a thing in history. One thing I can say about Black Myth Wukong um, is that the atmosphere for each and every station is so much stuff that's hidden. And please, for if you seriously, just try it out. Watch videos of it. Don't watch my videos. I'm not that great, but watch other people's videos who put out way better content than I. But when it comes to Astrobot's amazing. There's really not much to say. But should a platformer game in today's age be the the game of the year? That's the main thing. Should it be game of the year? Or should it just win platformer of the year and best, art direction or something like that? Because the art direction was amazing. And Astrobot is the type of really is the type of mascot to lead Sony into the future if they know what's good for them and they have any sense. Now, moving on from Black Myth Wukong and moving on to something that's a little bit more important, and that is the new Indiana Jones game for the Xbox and, of course, in the future for the PlayStation 5. And, of course, started on PC. But the Indiana Jones and the Circle of Doom or Circle of Light or whatever, that game's amazing. There's nothing else to say more about it. Is if you ever wanted to be Indiana Jones, you wanted to feel the power of Indiana Jones, give Todd Howard and Bethesda all the love and the stuff they need to feel loved. I know they're working hard on second season of Fallout, so hope I don't know if it's going to be called Fallout New Vegas since they are going to Vegas. Spoiler alert! Sorry about that, people. But I really feel that this could actually lead up to something else. I don't know how long they're going to do this IP for. Apparently, Harrison Ford, who actually showed up in person for those who didn't watch the Gaming Awards, or if you did briefly, um, good for him for getting that money and getting that bag because he didn't show up for free. He didn't show up like, oh, I love games. Homeboy probably only knows about Pong, and that's probably because of his grandkids, and like, look, guys, like, I don't care about your Pokemon, you know. But the only game system he probably played was Pong back in the '70s, and that's when he saw somebody playing it, and he probably punched them. So kudos for him for getting the bag for showing up because they paid him some type of money to do it, and that's why he said if I knew this game was that good and that great, I would have voiced over it myself. No, he wouldn't have voiced over it himself. He tired. He don't want to really do that stuff. Um, Look, everybody, even the rich and famous need money. So kudos to my man for getting the bag. And the game's great. Does platforming, a little bit of everything. So check that game out. It will be probably one of the contenders next year for the game of the year, or in its own title onto itself. But it should win something next year for it being what it is. Even though it came out, remember, it came out before the Gaming Awards, so it's on next year's list. Depending upon how much DLC they add to it, it'll probably win an award, and it'll be well deserved. Now, I would like to say a lot about Capcom. Capcom is moving up in the world, bringing back old IPs and doing what they do best, which is making you think, "Oh, I love that game back in the day. I love the Okami. I can't wait for Okami too. Oh, Onimushu. I love Onimushu." Let me tell you a fun fact about Onimushu that most people do not know. Back in the early days of the original PlayStation 2, when they used to do the PlayStation book or whatever, would come with the demos, and also for the people who beta tested Onimushu, well, there was a glitch in the demo. And for those who remember, that glitch would let you take your sword and just pop pop the bad guys up in the air. And that glitch went on later to become Devil's May Cry signature, bouncing the demons and your enemies up in the air and then falling up in the air and then smashing them later on. But that all came from a glitch from Onimushu. And for anybody who's wondering what's on in the background, Infinity Nikki. That game is free. That game is awesome. Check that game out. Play that game. Super cool game. Um, Not for everybody, but for some people. So, woo, feeling that today, boy. You ever just like have like some pizza and you have like a big slice of New York style pizza and the pepperonis like were just like kicking? Yeah, that's kind of what I got going on. But no, there's so much goodwill I have for Capcom, and Capcom's doing a new Onimushu, doing a Okami number 2. Now the thing is, they should release the Onimishus 2, 3, and then the Onimushu fighting game because that was also pretty good. And then of course with modern controls, and then have the ability to save anywhere. That would also be nice. And another game they should bring back if Capcom's bringing back old games, bring back Power Stone 1 and 2, or like redo those. And then also Rival Schools. Who does not love Rival Schools 1 and 2? Because all the mini games for Rival School were super awesome. And then if you remember it, for those who had a Dreamcast and you had the old Dreamcast memory card, you could put mini games from Rival Schools, like the baseball hitting the home runs and a few other things, onto the little VG memory card, little, it's like a little game, almost little thing that was in black and white, and you could put the little mini games onto it. So that was really cool. And it'd be nice they bring that back where you can actually download those games in color, not in black and white, onto your phone. And it's just, something that's like 4 or 5 megabytes, not something that's eating up a lot of phone space or anything like that. That'd be super cool. And it's so awesome that they're bringing back these games. But I would love if Sony, if they're still buying FromSoft, would actually bring back Tenshu. because Tenchu Stealth Assassins, unbelievably amazing game, and it deserves a resurgence. And if anything, if you don't want to bring it back, just remaster Tensu Z from the Xbox 360. That game is amazing. Four people at once playing all together. Awesome, amazing, well done, smart game. Everything's done correctly. Now, uh, I want to talk one more thing about gaming before I move on to movies and other things that are going on in pop culture, so forth and so on. So let me just say, Naughty Dog with the intergalactic heretic prodigal, whatever it is, prophet, yeah, prophet. Look, haven't we have enough of person looks in the mirror, shaves their head, and they're just instant, you know, badass or whatever you want to be. You know, it's been done to death. Do something new. You know, make somebody be built up from nothing. You know, the best thing to do is to have somebody who's suffering or weak find like a suit or get like some type of injection that makes them super powerful, whether they be, you know, whatever they identify as. Okay. That makes more sense to me rather than like, oh, she or he is whatever, and they're just automatically the baddest thing on the planet. Let's go back to the simple time of the 80s of where you find a mech suit or you take some type of, it's like you get injected with something, or like someone's running down a dark alleyway and you're homeless or whatever you are, and all of a sudden, someone drops something and it spills on you, and then you become, super whatever, and now you're trying to find the guys who gave you this power because you feel like, you know, you have so many hours to live if you don't get an antidote or get something to do whatever. You know, stories shouldn't be that difficult. Where it's like everybody just starts out at, they're super strong and they only get super stronger as the things go by. Well, that could work if you make it make sense. If you automatically start out like no backstory of why you got said powers or why you have saber or so forth and so on. Now, Naughty Dog will not have the fortunate thing, or let's be knock on something here, of a global pandemic in order for them to sell games, and then a month later have a better game come out in Ghost of Tsushima to rob them of anything else. And Ghost of Tsushima actually gave something that Naughty Dog didn't do two different times, which was the multiplayer. A lot of people don't realize this. Most people who bought The Last of Us 2 bought it for the multiplayer. I was one of the people. And it's like, oh, no, 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 no. The multiplayer is coming. It's almost like J.J.R. Martin and Lord of the Rings. Excuse me, not Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones. Sorry, I had to throw that out there. Where you're like, no, 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 no. The dragons are coming from the South Park episode. No, the pizza is coming for the diabetic Scott Malkinson. It's like, please, can you get my friend some pizza? The pizza is coming. Yeah. So no, that's not the case, dude. Just you should have basically delivered on your promises. I'm surprised there wasn't some class action lawsuits, you know. And no, I could be misreading this wrong, but I remember before it came out, they were working on the multiplayer for Last of Us 2, and they said that it would be coming out in September or whatever, and they just kept pushing it back, and all of a sudden it just, oh, no, 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 no. We're working on a separate game for multiplayer. Okay, all right. And then that never comes out. And then it's like, oh, well, we're remastering. No, no, we're redoing Last of Us 1, and we're working on multiplayer. And then there's no multiplayer. Dude, just say, well, we're going to lie to you in hopes that you'll buy our game again. And this all could be allegedly, but from what I remember, there was supposed to be a strong multiplayer for Last of Us 2, and Last of Us 1's multiplayer was so good. And then again, the pandemic helped them sell tons of copies because there was no other games out. There was that game that I think that was the month of July. No, it was month of June. Excuse me. And then in July came Ghost of Tsushima, which, I look forward to the second one, Ghost of Utah, which maybe be a side story considering it's 300 years in the future. And if they know how to tell a story, which Sucker Punch does, but remember, it is not the same team. Everybody who worked on the original Ghost of Tsushima allegedly has went on to do different projects, and this is the team that worked on the Island DLC project with new writers. So it's not even the exact same team that is doing this current project. But I have high hopes for it. I think it should be well done. If anything, if she's a Ronin or a rogue, I'm assuming she's from a family of rogue samurais or whatever, who's been left, and her father was like a master, or her father, or she was taught when she wasn't supposed to be taught, because that's how it seems things go now. It's like, well, she was taught this amazing technique, and now she no longer has it. And so, if anything, make her unbelievably fast, where all her moves are very, you know, supersonic techniques, where it's like insta kills, and there's no real sword battles, where it's not like, okay, someone can, easily destroy her with might. Because if that's the case, then she has to have different weapons to deal with the people who have, you know, are basically brute samurais who just use brute force and brute striking. So, moving on from gaming, let's get on to movies. The rumor, and it is an alleged rumor, that Sony, because of Craven, the Hunter, has done really bad, which is unfortunate because I thought I had high hopes for that movie and thought that movie could have been something special. We don't always have to piss on IPs that are new just because, I mean, and Craven was a big deal back in the 80s. He was one of the bigger Spider-Man villains in the early 90s too. And then all of a sudden, when Venom got his own spinoff and then they did all the symbiotes, that changed everything. And then, later on Miles Morales came, and they had to make new bad guys for him. And so it's kind of like people kind of forgot Craven the Hunter. And I really think this movie, I don't want to give any spoilers away or anything like that, but it only works if halfway through the movie Spider Man shows up or something like that, because people expect, well, it's a Spider Man villain. Why there's no Spider Man? And it makes sense because it's like an origin story that leads up to why he's hunting Spider-Man, or why he's the hunter that he is. And if you didn't put Craven to it, you could have just called it the Hunter, and nothing else to it. And it's just, you know because you put all that comic book lore to it, people will automatically hate because it doesn't follow the comic book 100%, or the comic books is not what they wanted. It's like, or or it's like, maybe it's too close to the comic book. Oh, well, it's not what we wanted because it's too close to the comic book. Rather than just saying, "Hey, man, let's just do a better job on that." But it is rumored that they will be allegedly selling Spider-Man back to Disney. And it's not selling it back to Disney; just Disney owns all the IP properties of Marvel currently. Because remember, at one point in time, before Disney had bought the Marvels, the X-Men were and Blade and a few other IPs were bought by Fox, and then of course, Sony had bought Spider-Man, did their original trilogy, which was nothing but bangers, and and then they coexisted with Marvel slash Disney and made their last couple of movies where it feels like Spider-Man's not even the main character in his own world, and that is what it is. But if that happens, well, what are you going to do with Spider-Man? Are you just rebooting it all over again? Because can Tom basically start it all over again? Because now it's a true Disney IP, or do you continue on? Because I mean, he's getting older. I think the kid's like 25 now or something like that. So where do you start it? And do you start Miles Morales' story? You know, because that would be interesting. If Disney owns the IP or gets the IP, allegedly with this alleged sale that they may sell it to back to Disney, would they focus on doing something with Miles Morales? So that's quite interesting onto itself. And as far as gaming goes and movies go, look, I hope that movie does well. I don't wish any movie to do bad. Well, a few movies, but not like super bad. Where it's like, I was hoping this was it Red One Down or Red One would have been really cool with Rock and Chris Evans. A lot of people didn't care for it, and it's like, It seemed kind of cool. It's a different concept. At least they're trying something different. Or they're not like, hey, take something that people love from the 70s or 80s or 90s just recently and do dog crap. That's like what was it? The guy from Ghostbusters who was also in the original Crow says that he will never watch the original Crow. I can't think of the guy's name. Ernie somebody. Um, it escapes me, but he says he cannot watch the new Crow because, and this is important, because he feels it would be disrespectful to Brandon Lee's legacy, and that Brandon Lee is the Crow because he put his heart and soul into that movie and what happened to him. And again, they're two different movies whatsoever. Altogether, you don't have to have a remake of something that is a cult classic in the best way. That's like saying, let's do a new Rocky Horror Picture Show. Who's going to play Tim Curry's Awesome and Amazing Row? Who's going to be Meatloaf? It's I know they did the live action one for Fox, so don't anybody hit me up so live action one for Fox, you dumbass, or NBC. But you know, it's just one of those cult classics where are you going to watch the new version? Yeah, will if you don't know any better, or you're gonna watch the original that's corny and lame, but it's cool. You just don't watch the last 7 or 8 minutes because that's just horrible. It's like they were doing drugs and they couldn't allegedly doing drugs and they just couldn't figure out like what is the ending. Uh, mm, just you can do everything but write the finish, and they just couldn't write the finish for that movie that satisfied anybody. Now, I don't care who you are. I don't think that ending is satisfying at all whatsoever for the Rocky Horror Picture Show, especially the whole scene in the pool and with the showing of the ladies. So, but that's not here or there. Moving on to music. Look, a lot of people may not know this group, and in my normal podcast that you can find on iHeartRadio, you can find on Spotify, the Hunter Houston ESG podcast. I usually talk about music for about 5 or 6 minutes, and the music I'm going to talk about today is I'm talk about Jodeci. Usually I talk about old school rock and roll or rap or whatever, but today I'm going to talk about R&B, and I'm going to talk about not Casey and JoJo because they're awesome and amazing, and they put out so many hits and had like one of the greatest soundtracks of all time with Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. But when they were with Jodeci and they had the band, you look at their greatest hits, man, and for them to the remake of Stevie Wonder's Lately, and it's just so good, so touching, and so just awesome. And for those who never listened to Jodeci, please listen to Jodeci. Listen to the greatest hits. Listen to Lately. Tell Me What You Want. I mean, these guys are just so amazing, and you don't have to watch the music videos because especially if you watch them with your ladies, that your lady may start sending fan mail to Jodeci. So there you go. Now I've talked about Jodeci, talked about a little bit of gaming, talked about. I want to talk about a little about sports. Congratulations to Mr. Travis Hunter for winning the Heisman Trophy and being one of the best two-way players to ever play the game. Good luck, young sir. We wish you well in your endeavors. It is my belief. It's just my belief because I'm a silly person, so no one get mad at me. I think the Raiders will lose the rest of their games, get the number one pick, trade to get the number two pick Shamir Sanders number one, pick Travis Hunter number two, and then basically wait till like the third or fourth round when they have another pick again. And look, they'll go out and get a couple of high priced wide receivers or whatever. Tom Brady works with his was it Deion Sanders' kid, Shamir Sanders, in the off season, or he has in the past. He's a partial owner. It only makes sense. And then you bring in Deion Sanders as coach, and give him a 10-year deal, so that way he's going to be there. His son's going to be there. for at least for at least one more contract, so two contracts, and Travis will be there for at least one. And then it's very. I mean, how close is Nevada to Colorado? Yeah, pretty. It's yeah, I'm pretty sure it's close. Um, but you know, it's one of those things where I really feel that this is something that could be amazing and great, and I don't think everybody else is going to be able to pull that off. Now, a lot of people say that the Cowboys should lose for the rest of the season in order to get a good draft pick because it makes no sense. It's like, oh well, we finished strong and we're able to pick like 24 or 22, and we need so much help, and because we spent all this other money and we have nothing else, but we're going to finish strong. No, just lose outright for the rest of the year. Get yourself a good pick in the you know the top 10 if you can, and then pick somebody that's worth something, man. And then for the anything else for the NFL, look, everybody knows at the end of the day, it's going to probably be Detroit and Kansas City or Detroit and Buffalo in a rematch. All right. And Buffalo or Kansas City's going to win. Detroit's going to, have a good year or whatever. And actually, someone told me um, that the year I'll have to look this up because I don't believe them, but I'll have to look this up. That the 4 years that President Trump was president, that there was a different champ that never won a championship in the NFL. So if people can look that up and fact check me, or I can bring that up next week if I continue to do it, continue to put this on YouTube. Please hit us up at Hunter Houston 13 at yahoo.com. So thank y'all much on that one. If I could be right, or I could be wrong, but that's what the person told me. So I didn't look it up before I started. I figured, if someone's watching this, they'll correct me, or if someone's listening to us. Uh, Usually, the people that already listened to us fix all that stuff up. Before we get out of here for the night, uh, I got some reader, or should I say, some people who send stuff in for the emails, and I usually just grab one, and one is from Buster Kills You 212. Uh, I've been listening to your podcast for over a year now. What do you say about people who dislike your podcasts, and what do you say about people who just don't listen anymore because you talked about a lot of people have left or people have joined? Well, look, I am not for everybody. Okay, I do what I want to do, and I say what I want to say. Sometimes it clicks with people, sometimes it doesn't click with people, and that's just what it is. All I can say is, hey, if you show up and you like the content I do, like, share, and subscribe to the show, send us an email, join the show live. We're going to try to go live if this YouTube one does well. We'll try to go live more often, and I'll even let people know when we are going live. Pay attention, and you can join and be a part of the show. So, but what I feel about my haters, look, man, there's a lot of people. Look, I make great memes. You can go over to Sabertron13 at Instagram and see some of my memes. I do pretty decent memes. At least I like to think so. Some of them are controversial, but I'm a memer. So I posted memes on here as well. So hopefully people like them. If you don't, again, feel free to leave a comment. I'm not so thick skinned where I can't take some form of criticism that I didn't do something that someone likes. Congratulations, you have an opinion. But no, seriously, man, I don't take anything seriously. This is entertainment for people. You know, some people may like my content that may entertain them, and it may just be just like I got nothing else to listen to. My favorite show's off. I'm listening to this clown over here because he says weird stuff and he's very random. So there we go. And to the haters, look, some people just jealous. They don't have no talent. I'm not saying I'm super talented, but at least I'm out here trying, you know. And a lot of people not even trying, are quick to criticize, but yet won't step in front of a mic, won't put their face to a camera, you know. I'm old and tired, so it is what it is. So, with that out of the way, I would like to say thank you to everyone who may check out this stream. If you do, cool, great. Uh, Come over and check out some of our other episodes again on Spotify. and also on iHeartRadio and where most podcasts can be found at the Hunter Houston ESG. I'm gonna keep saying it like I'm a salesman until you may actually buy my garbage. Uh, but yes, come check us out at Hunter Houston ESG podcast. And again, thank you to everybody, and we shall see you another time. Appreciate you. Thanks. Bye.